Good morning. Good morning. My name is Esposito, and I am not Rob, but I am going to be your host today. Hi, everyone. My name is Stephanie. You may know me from the show Salted, and I'm just honored to be here today. Rob is in Nashville, and so hopefully he's having a wonderful time at the National Association of Christian Broadcasters. But today you're going to be stuck with me. I'm very excited to connect with you and to talk with you just about the all of the fun things going on this week. And for those of you who didn't know, today is National Random Acts of Kindness Day, which I think is just so wonderful. I love that we have days like that. And, I remember during COVID when everything was locked down and shut down, and it was something that we tried to do, was just do little random acts of kindness. So our church encouraged us, and me and my kids would go out and just write in chalk on people's sidewalks, or in front of our own homes. So while people were walking, little sunshines, little happy things. But random acts of kindness don't have to be big. It doesn't have to be, you know, paying someone's mortgage. Although, hey, if you can do that, I will let you know all of my banking info so you can make that deposit. But, um, a random act of kindness can be a warm smile or that type of thing. It can really literally be anything. So I hope everyone had a wonderful weekend, a long weekend. We had Valentine's Day and then another day off on Monday. And I don't know about you, but my Valentine's Day was especially wonderful because we got to celebrate my husband's very last day serving in the United States military after 21 years. So he, on Valentine's Day, did his last day of service and then drove back across the country for the last time prayerfully. And I'm very, very proud of him. And then this coming weekend, I'll be taking my daughter to a college visit, which, man, time just flies. It's just so wild. But that reminds me, since we're going to Virginia for this college visit, of the last time my family went to Virginia. Actually, and this is my random act of kindness for you. I'm about to share a tip with you that my 11-year-old taught me. So a few weeks ago, my daughter had a track meet in Virginia, and she said, "Mom, it's at this specific university." Great. So we book a hotel at that university. And the night before, she was out with some friends and she called and she said, "I made a mistake. That's not where it's at. It's actually 3 hours further east." It was like right on the coast. And I was like, "Great. What am I going to do? I have two nights in a hotel in a city that I don't need to be in. So here comes your random act of kindness. Are you ready?" I hung up the phone with my daughter and I'm so frustrated that I'm losing 2 nights in this hotel. And my 11-year-old says, "Mom, you might not be able to cancel it, but you can go to their website and change your date. So make your date 3 weeks out and then you can cancel it." So sure enough, went to the website, changed the day of the hotel to 3 weeks out, waited a little bit, and I was able to cancel the reservation. So I said to my 11-year-old, "Where in the world did you learn this tip?" And he said, "YouTube. You should really let me watch it more." So if you have kids watching YouTube, and we really only let them watch it in the living room on the television while we're in the room. So somehow I missed it, but he got tips and tricks that really made a huge difference for him. So that is my random act of kindness to you today, is to let you know that you really should never have to miss out on a hotel reservation again. Even though they may say that you can't cancel it, you can change it or modify it. So there you go. That's my random act of kindness for you on this beautiful day. Well, another funny thing about today, it's National Cabbage or Cauliflower Day. Who knew? Where do they come up with these things? National Cabbage or Cauliflower Day. My memories of cabbage being Italian, I remember my grandmother rolling cabbage and then boiling it with meat inside. And I remember thinking it was so disgusting and it smelled so gross. And now that I'm older, it's one of those happy memories. And I've always liked cauliflower, but who knew? National Cauliflower Day. So Now you know. Did anybody ever know that? I would just love to know where they come up with all of these crazy things. But hello. Oh, it looks like Rob is here. Rob, so happy to hear from you. I really hope that you're having an amazing day in Nashville. And Jody, yeah, I don't know. Cauliflower. No who made this a day? I don't know, but cauliflower has evolved over the years, I would say. I mean, it used to just be a head of cauliflower. Now you can get it riced, you can turn it into all these things. And, I mean, we just keep on evolving as a society with all of this weird stuff. I think it just gives people happy news. And you know what? I would much rather have that than some of the other headlines that the news addresses these days. So I'll take National Cauliflower Day over some of those other headlines any day of the week. That is for sure. But today we're going to have a wonderful show. We've got Dr. Trudy with us, who you may know from the show Salted. Again, thank you if you're just joining us. I am not Rob Patz. My name is Stephanie Esposito, and I will be with you today and tomorrow with some very special guests, including Dr. Trudy today. And so we're just going to have a wonderful time together. In the meantime, if you haven't grabbed your cup of coffee, then you should do that. Hopefully it's a 7 weeks coffee, because as you know, the folks at 7 weeks coffee have a wonderful mission, and their coffee is just excellent. So we're going to go to a quick break from our sponsor. And when we return, I will have Dr. Trudy with us. So keep it right here.
Behind every precious life, there was a choice. Behind every family moment, behind every special memory, there was a choice. A life of joy. A life that is beautifully and wonderfully made. At 7 Weeks Coffee, we are funding the pro-life movement, one cup at a time. Will you let your coffee serve a greater purpose?
All right. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Stephanie Esposito. If you're just joining us, I'm filling in for Rob Patz today and tomorrow. And joining me now is the wonderful Dr. Trudy. So thank you with us.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course.
Good to see you.
You too. It's a little bit of a different setting. Usually we're together on Salted.
Yes.
And if you are viewing this for the first time and you never heard of the show Salted, we have a panel of ladies that we get together and we just discuss all the topics that impact women and put a little salt on it, because we're the salt and light of the earth, right?
That's right. That's right. We have a little bit of fun, don't we?
We definitely do. Yes.
A little bit of fun. I was thinking about the cabbage. You remember the Cabbage Patch Dolls?
Oh my goodness. Do I remember? I was obsessed.
I know. I was too. We couldn't afford them when I was growing up. So my mom made me one and it was beautiful. I still have it in my closet. It's so cute. Yeah.
Love that. It's better than the Cabbage Patch doll.
Yeah. Have you ever been to the Cabbage Patch Museum?
I have not, but I did hear about it for the first time recently. And I was like, man, it's kind of cool. It's kind of strange. Have you been there?
Yeah, I went when I was little, and it is both. It is kind of cool and kind of strange. But I drove past it a couple of weeks ago, and it reminded me of, wow, I went there once when I was little. But yeah, it's a little bit of both. But I do love my Cabbage Patch doll that my mom made for me. So it's a great memory.
Aw,
yeah,
I love that. Well, I know you're training for, is it a triathlon? What's going on in your world right now?
Yeah, so there's a lot going on in my crazy world, but I am doing, my son and I are going to do a half Ironman in May. Yes, this is his second one. And I was going to retire, Stephanie. And he's like, Mom, no, I really want you to do it with me. Aww. And so I started training him. And then I realized, Stephanie, that he was way above my pay grade. Like he is so much faster than me, but he is, 20 compared to me being 56, but whatever. So I hired him a coach. And then, so now I'm kind of training alongside of him. So it's so much fun. And then in June 14th, I'm running 100 miles in honor of my dad. So I'll do 100 miles in 24 hours in hopes to raise $100,000 for childhood cancer again. I did it last year because I always run on the day that he went to heaven, which is June 14th. And I have all these, people come and hang out and run with me. It's a really fun, I wouldn't say party, but kind of like a party. It's a celebration. Yeah. And if anyone wants to run with me, they can choose to run a mile, 2 miles, 10 miles, whatever. So I'm training for those type of things for this year. Yeah, it's kind of fun.
I love that. Well, we don't really talk a ton about fitness, just a little bit on Salted. So I'm excited to be able to hear a little bit more about like your training. And I just think I have so much respect for people who have that level of discipline. That was not something I was raised with. And right. So, I mean, my dad played baseball as, up until college. And so we had athletics in our family, but that level of measuring protein and really like training every single day wasn't something I was exposed to until I met my husband. And sadly, a couple of years ago, I got just very stressed out and gained like 45 pounds.
Right.
To get rid of it with weightlifting and like really diving into that discipline. So I'm so curious how, and I've learned too that like, it doesn't matter how old you are, your body can be trained to do almost anything.
Absolutely.
Our minds are stronger than our bodies.
Yeah,
so I tell myself, pick up the weight and just do it.
Yeah.
And don't feel it. I can power through. Do you have that moment while you're either training or running that you have that like, I'm exhausted, but your brain switches and makes you go, or like?
Oh yeah. I mean, there are some days, Stephanie, there are a lot of days that I don't want to get up and do anything. I mean, I'm just like, well, I've been sick for the last 7 days. So if you can hear it in my voice, I have this crazy flu, y'all. So be careful out there. But there are days that, no, I'm like, I can't do it. I just don't want to do it. But then I'm like, wait a minute. I didn't come out here to quit. I came out here with a goal in mind, and no matter how my body feels, my mind is going to see me through it. You're right. The mind is the strongest muscle, and the mind will keep going, well after the body quits. It's like if your mind is determined, your body will see you through. I mean, if your mind is determined, then your body's going to make it through. It just depends on where's your mindset. Is it a victim or is it victorious? It just depends. Because I used to be overweight and out of shape when I was young in high school, and I was really overweight and out of shape. And I was like, one day, yeah, I know. And so I just was like, all right, it's time for me to get in shape. So I started running, and it's funny. It's kind of like Forrest Gump. I started running and I never stopped. I'm just like, I found my lane, and I'm like, okay, I could run. And so I just never stopped. But yeah.
What made you transition from like being unhealthy to health? Was there something that kind of switched in your mind, or an event that?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think I got tired of just being like, I would come home, and this is so funny, but I would eat Hostess Twinkies. You remember those Hostess Twinkies?
I do. Yeah.
And what were the other ones? The Captain. What are they?
Oh, Tasty Cakes. I mean, I'm from Philly, so Tasty Cakes.
Maybe they were the Hostess cakes. Anyway. Okay. I would come home from school and I would just eat, and I just think one day I woke up and I got tired of being made fun of because people would say, seriously, no joke, oh, here comes wide load. And I was like, all right, I need to really, really focus and change. And so I did. I started running, I started walking, and then I was like, wow, I'm really good at this running thing. So the track coach was like, you need to come on the track team. And so I really I found people at that point started pouring into that part of my life because I was actually good at it. And so I just started moving forward in that and really decided, what, how do I want my life to be? Do I want to be overweight on the couch, or do I want to be in shape and have a good life? We were never really taught a lot about health and nutrition in my family, in the household. There was a lot of just overweight and obesity and addiction. And so it was just one for all or all for one. And so at one point I'm like, okay, I'm done now. I'm done being made fun of. I know that I'm good at something. So let's move forward in that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow. And you were in high school when
I
that
was
happened.
in high school. Yeah.
Okay. Those are such formative years. My daughter decided to run track out of nowhere too. She was a golfer and just
Yeah.
it was like, I'm over golf. I want to run. I'm like, oh, I'm so glad I invested all of that time and energy, but okay, let's do it.
Right. That's right. Yeah.
It's amazing how athletics and even just like physical fitness, there's so many metaphors that tie into other areas of your life and like strength and determination. And
Yeah.
I think that it's underrated, but at least it was in my world. If you can do those things, then you know that when you're in other difficult situations, then you can press through and persevere and apply the same lesson. Like, hey, I did that on the track, or I did that in the weight room. And so now I know I can do that, in the office or the boardroom or whatever. So
it's just building that mental mindset of, yeah, I can do all things. I can be an overcomer. I can push through. I can go out and run when it's 20 degrees outside or it's raining outside and my body doesn't want to, but I can push through. And it does. Being able to do the hard things, creating us that resilience to be able to come back and be able to overcome and be able to be victorious. I think in every area of life. I think about, you know who David Goggins is?
Oh yeah. Oh, we love him in our house.
I do too. I do too. And actually, I mean, yeah, I really, he was the one who gave me the idea of the 100 miles in 24 hours, but he talks about that all the time. He's like, we're training for life. Like when we go out and run, Stephanie, or we go to the gym and work out, we're not training just to be fit. We're training for life so that when the hard days come, when those hard phone calls come, we can, embrace those hard things with a better mentality versus a weak mentality. And that's what I think about a lot, because this life will throw us punches, and we've got to be, we got to be able to get back up, right? And get back up again and continue moving forward. And I think the fitter we are mentally, the fitter we are spiritually, and then the fitter we are emotionally, they all go hand in hand. And, I was a personal trainer and personal trainer for 20 years, and just listening to story after story of brokenness and wanting to build their life back. And then that's why I became a counselor. I was like, okay, people are hurting, but they've got to have the full, God created us in a 3-part being. And so we've got to be fully equipped in all areas. It's like, if we're weak in one area, we're going to be weak in the other area. And so it has to have that balance.
I'm so glad that you said that, because when you first started down that path, I was literally thinking the same thing, that sometimes we just put a focus on one of those areas.
Right.
And there are some people who are incredibly physically fit, but emotionally so broken, or mentally just don't have the will to persevere because they've lost hope. And it's wild to me how they can press through in one setting and not in another. It does create an imbalance. And I hope that people start to realize this generation that's coming up, I'm so impressed with, because I think that these young kids that I see are so they're just so much more spiritually strong. I mean, I look at my daughter and how when I was in high school, I wanted to fit in. I wanted to have friends. I didn't want to get teased. I got teased for different reasons, mostly because I had a big unibrow. I was the hairy Italian girl that, nobody wanted to date. And I would do not anything, but I felt like anything to just fit in. And I see my daughter willing to stand, and God has brought her friends. And now I'm realizing this entire generation has a boldness. And maybe it is because maybe we can give it to social media just a little bit, because they see the world a little bit bigger. And so they know that there are people that maybe think the way that they do. And so they're okay to sit by themselves until they find their people. I'm not sure what it is. Maybe it's just that they've allowed the presence of the Holy Spirit in a way that we didn't. I don't know, but I love it. I love that generation is mentally getting a little bit stronger than mine was anyway.
Yeah. I mean, it is great to watch. Jonathan is 20 and he's just like, I don't want to. I don't want to go and do the things. I don't want to go to the parties. I just don't want to. And so it's great to watch. But I think, for our generation, we learned so much that we were able to pour into the next generation and, say, you know what, it's not. And that's what I tell my little girl all the time. I'm like, why fit in when you can stand out?
Right.
Why dim your light for somebody else? I mean, we spend our time dimming our lights, but did God ever tell us to dim our light?
No.
No, he wants us to shine our light. It does him no credit when we dim our light. And so I try to tell my kids, don't settle for anything. Shine your light so that the world can see. And if it means people aren't going to like you, then that's okay, because the right people, they'll gravitate to you, and the wrong people, then they'll just walk away. And that's okay. It's okay if someone walks out of your life. You think about rejection and how rejection really hurts, but if we can think about it as it's just God redirecting people in and out of our life, it's a different way to look at it. But I think growing up, I was never taught that. It's like, oh, you want people to like you. You want to be in the in crowd, but it's so different now, Stephanie. And I think that we've maybe been able to pour a little bit of that into our kids, that it's okay to not fit in. It's even better just to stand out. You look at Jesus, like how many friends did he have? Like close friends.
Well, I mean, I don't even know that the disciples were all considered, what was it, 2 that were like his inner?
Yeah, I think he only had 2, and then he had 12, and then he had, it's like we all want to fit in and have all these friends and have all these likes. But if we're supposed to be modeling our life after Jesus, look at his life and look what it represented. And so he never fit in, did he? He never said anything to kind of appease the crowd. He was bold. He stood out, and for us to want to say we want a life like Jesus, but then want to fit in and want everyone to like us, is it really true?
No, I mean, it's kind of counterintuitive. And to think that you could even achieve that. When I worked in news, one of the measurements of success for me after doing a controversial story was I would upset people on both sides.
Yeah.
If I did that, then I was like, yes, that was a balanced broadcast.
Yeah, I love that.
And I think that was Jesus too.
Yeah. I think he froze.
That was okay. Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
It said lost connection, reconnecting, but okay, we're reconnected. So that's good.
Yes. And I think that is a great point, because he wasn't trying. He was trying to please his Father. Like he had an audience of one.
Yep.
And there is so much freedom when you have that audience of one versus trying to please everybody and fit in. And so going back to being strong physically, spiritually, and emotionally, when we're whole like that, then we can stand and be okay.
One of the things I've been thinking a lot about lately, because we've got a lot of transition in my house right now, is identity versus assignment. And when I left news, I walked through all of that. I traded in, network television for diapers and deployments and, handling life in a totally different way. And I had a little bit of an identity crisis. And I remember the Lord speaking to me, and there's only been a few times where it was like a word for word. I know that this is exactly what he's saying. I feel it in my spirit, and I can write it down. And he told me, I stopped and balanced on what he wanted to be a stepping stone. And that was hard for me, because since I was a little girl, I had a toothbrush in the bathroom and I was reporting live on the rubber duckies in the tub. And I mean, I really wanted that always. I wanted to be a voice for the underdog. And I thought that was what I was going to do, was investigative journalism. And when the Lord told me to lay it down, it took me about a year to do it, but I did. I laid it down and then had a huge identity crisis. Now identity in my teenager, I see, and she is so confident and wonderful, but still learning and coming into herself. And now this week, after transitioning out of the military, another identity shift. And what I feel like the Lord talking to me about is when your identity is rooted in him, when your assignment shifts, then it's not as traumatic.
Right.
And that's something that I think does tie back to the body, mind, and spirit, because your identity is what God says you are.
Right.
It's that, like, it's the characteristics that you have. And everybody is certain things. We're all the same in the sense that we're all his children, heirs to the throne. We all are entitled to, under the blood of Jesus, healing and peace. And there's all of these things that he promises. But then we all have our own strengths and weaknesses, and you can see what they are by, in my life anyway, the things that irritate me or upset me, or like, the things that God has dropped in my heart, like, that's not okay. You need to go be a part of that, or you need to go and bring something good to that. Or, you have your own strengths. But then to be able to just accept the fact that the assignments will change, but he never changes, and who he says you are will never change, is something that really does kind of require mental strength for us to wrap our human minds around. Because even though I like change, I'm good to move a lot and all the things that life has brought. That's still, it's deeper than that. And so I love that we're talking about this, because I think it's relevant whether you're in the middle of a transition or you've been through a transition. To me, identity versus assignment has been a big topic. Do you find that to be something that you talk to people about a lot?
I do. Sorry, do you see that in my screen?
I do. I see you.
Okay. I do. In fact, I was talking to a client the other week, and she's going through a divorce. And I looked at her and I say, well, thank goodness your identity is not in the divorce. Your identity is it's not in a circumstance. It's not in a situation. Your identity is grounded and rooted in who you are in Christ. And that has to be enough. Like the Lord asked me to lay something down to you, Stephanie, that I absolutely loved. And I did it for 10 years, I think. And it was a huge part of my life. And I did struggle. And even still some today, I struggle with, wow, should I have done that? Should I not have done that? That was just part of who I am. And it wasn't who I am. It was what I was doing. It's what we do. And there's a difference. And that's where your purpose comes in. Your purpose is part of your identity, but your identity and that purpose is not going to change from circumstances to situation. Those have to be grounded and rooted in who you truly, truly are. Because in this world, we can be pulled so many different ways. There's so many distractions, but if you're rooted in your identity and your purpose in Christ, then you really can't be shaken. And everything that you do, like, the Lord in his goodness will, give us these different seasons in life where, okay, well, right now, yeah, we're at home, we're taking care of kids, we're taking care of parents, we're doing this. But then as we are grounded in that season and knowing that, hey, you know what, this is a great season too, and I can still honor God in this season, then he'll bring us to the next season. But we have to make sure we've been obedient in the darker seasons, or the maybe less seen seasons in our identity. That's where we're going to be really planted and rooted. And then he'll bring us to a new season, like spring, where things start to bloom and start to flourish, and, things start to, change a little bit more. You know what I mean? Because right now, like, I'm in this season of taking care of my mom and my little girl and things like that. And so it's more, I don't want to say it's a darker season, but
it's heavy. Yeah.
Seen season. Yeah.
Well, our God is so kind. And I started out the broadcast today talking about how today is National Random Acts of Kindness Day. And I'm just grateful that the Lord is so good to us, and that he is constantly looking for ways to bless us because we're his kids. So, Dr. Trudy, thank you so much for being with me today. And next week we'll be on Salted together. So don't miss Salted if you haven't caught it yet. But we are just so grateful that you've been with us today. Thank you. And I will see you right back here on the morning break tomorrow. Have a great day, everybody.
Bye-bye.